That's good.
All right, I'm recording now. Hi, Diane.
Hi, Lori. Okay, so we're fine. We're finally here.
After a few technical issues.
We finally, yeah. Yeah, we had two of you just now. I was squashed between two Loris.
That's a really scary place to be, I'm sure.
So, as I must say, I think that I'm pretty nervous about this first vlog of ours. I mean, we've been talking about this for a few weeks now,
Mm-hmm.
and personally, I do have some sort of idea. I think we do have some sort of idea where we want to go with this, but it's really an experiment. So, um, guys, bear with us. All I can say is that we're getting together to create as I don't know content. How shall we call it, Dory? What we want to talk
Content
about?
works for now.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we want to talk about um, our journeys into finding ourselves and really, I like to call it getting comfortable in my own skin and really learning to love who I am as Diane and accepting her as she is. Shall we give a little bit of background how we met? Do you think that's
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we've become really good friends, and yeah, I think it would be nice for people to know how we first connected.
yeah? Okay. So we both signed up for an online program given by Ankush Jain and Steve Chandler. Actually, Steve Chandler was a guest speaker once every 2 weeks, and we had a closed Facebook group, and that's how I met you for the first time. And the connection was, was pretty good from the word go, practically.
Pretty good. I'm sorry, that made me laugh. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Why? How would you describe it?
Well, I'm not sure if I would have said pretty good, but I mean, it kind of like started out slowly, I think, and it's kind of grown over the last, even more, way more so since we finished with the program. But
Okay. Delete, scrap.
it's fine. It just made me laugh. That's all. It doesn't take much for me sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. It grew gradually. Yeah. I think what's happened to me is now that it's the connection is so good. I've forgotten all the steps. The connection between us is so good. I've forgotten all the steps that we took before we could actually be here doing this vlog and making a complete fool of ourselves. But anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So, what's the subject going to be for our vlog today? You mentioned earlier that you wanted to talk about the song of Whitney Houston, or how you.
Yeah. Well, I think that for both of us, Diane, we've been on quite a journey of discovering how to love ourselves, like you mentioned a little bit ago, and getting really comfortable in your own skin and realizing that you are this amazing person that you yourself can love, you know. And I think that a lot of people can relate to this because I think there's a lot of us that have issue with not feeling very good about ourselves. So for me, I feel like I've been on this lifelong journey of really learning how to love myself, and it being like not a concept in my head, like, oh, you know, I really should love myself more, or what a nice idea to actually like myself or love myself, but it happening like at a really deep level, and it actually like I can literally sit here and say I really, really love myself. It's hard for people to say that and to really feel that. So I think that you and I, just through the conversations that we've had and the friendship that we've developed, we've realized that it's been really fresh on our minds lately, this whole subject. And it's been something that's been really powerfully transforming in both of our lives. And yeah, you mentioned the song. So when I was thinking about what we were going to talk about in our vlog, and we knew that the subject was going to be about loving ourselves, at least to begin with, it made me think of this song that I first heard when I was like a young teenager. And it just had a huge impact on me when I first heard this song. It's The Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston. And I actually printed it out because I was thinking I could share a little bit of the lyrics. Does that sound like a good idea right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she says, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. And I was a child back then. So I think those words were like, wow, like I'm going to be leading the future and I have beauty inside of myself. I didn't have any idea about that back then. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. And then the chorus goes on. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadows. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. Oh, it gives me goosebumps. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just those words make me think of, really realizing that love that we all crave and we all want to feel, because it's just a human need that we have, is not going to come from outside of us. And I think that that's why learning to love ourselves is so powerful, because when you start to really get a sense of that, like, oh, yeah, I want my boyfriend or, my mother or my father to love me. But ultimately, that feeling of really being loved and having love in your life isn't really going to come from anybody else except for you. So it's just been an amazing journey for me. And I can really, truly sit here today and say that I love myself. And what you said about being comfortable in your own skin, I just had a flashback of really like feeling that. I wish that I could feel that way a few years ago, and I do now. And it's amazing to be in that space of really feeling that at a deep level. And now I feel like I can share that with other people so much more powerfully because I'm really experiencing it for myself. What's your story on it? I think that was a lot, but yeah, that was just kind of a.
No, actually, I was happy that you kick it going. So I thought, okay, then I don't have to really talk about life. But I'm just being. Well, I'm happy that I remember that song really clearly, and I was thinking, how do the lyrics link to the principles? How do the lyrics link to the inside-out nature of how we are, and that nothing is outside of us? Everything is born and is inside of us, and that we are love, and that, and somehow that song is still pointing to the principles, still pointing to the inside-out nature of love. Because I mean, I don't think it impacted my life, that song. I didn't think of it that way. I knew it touched me at some point, but not in the way it impacted you. For me, I started to get comfortable in my skin in that online program. And I think I've said this 100 times before. I started to get comfortable in my own skin and be acceptant and more loving towards my perceived imperfections because of the interactions in that group, and because however I showed up, the love was forthcoming. It just kept coming my way, as unprincipled as I was behaving, which is total bullshit.
You bad girl, you. You unprincipled thing. I didn't think your behavior was that bad in there, but anyway.
That was my perception of me. I mean, nobody was complaining like I was, but anyway, that was my feeling at the time. But because the love was forthcoming, and because I know what happened, I kept getting insight after insight after insight. And I think the most important insight for me was, it's okay to be me. It's really okay to show up and be as I am, even though I think I have a big mouth at times. And that started my journey towards learning to love myself. Now, Jeff Foster, I know he's written something about the heart, and learning to love yourself would be like pumping your heart. I'm paraphrasing, pumping the blood in your heart backwards. I didn't look for the quote. I wanted to, but I was out all afternoon
in a song.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. I got a present from a girl.
I want to hear about that.
Yeah, and he says that you can't learn to love what already is there. You are love, so it. But for me, it didn't make sense, because I can understand on an intellectual level that I am love, that I am, I come from the divine source, that divine energy. I am love. But I mean, on a human level, I mean, I had so much difficulties with myself. So now I'm kind of bridging the two together, if that makes any sense. Recognizing that falling in love with myself slowly. I don't think I'm at your I haven't got as far as you got in this journey. I think I'm still kind of on, oh, Diane, sometimes you're such an asshole. But I'm much milder, I'm much more gentle, I'm much more peaceful. I'm really much more gentle than I have ever been, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I still have plenty of times where I'm, I find myself talking down to myself or whatever, but it's like you said, it's way less often, because I don't know about you, but I do know about you because you've told me about you, but like a lot of constant chatter, negative chatter was like, downplaying myself and talking really mean to myself. And I rarely do that anymore. That's really refreshing. And it sounds like that's what you're saying, like that's happening a lot less for you.
Yes, and I think this is a universal issue, that our insecurities, they come out in different shapes and forms, in different shapes and forms. I can't find another word.
And sizes.
And sizes.
I'm just helping you find some extra words there.
Okay. So, what's the message that we want to convey here, really? So that, I think this is a universal problem, since I have not yet met one single individual or client, for that matter, in my coaching career that really values themselves. Because if we're judging ourselves harshly, somehow on another level, we're going to be judging other people.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I think it's the people that hate themselves the most that are the most judgmental and unkind to other people. Because if you don't know how to be kind to yourself, how are you going to share kindness with anyone else? That makes complete sense. That would be a difficult thing to do. So the message, I mean, I was actually thinking about that. Like, how does one come to love themselves? And I don't.
There's that how word, then the principle community.
There's no. Obviously, there's no magic bullet or magic potion or anything like that. I mean, for both of us, it's been a journey, and I think for anybody that knows what we're talking about here, which is probably everybody can relate at some level, it doesn't happen overnight. I think there needs to be like an openness and a willingness to let go of some of the old patterns of thinking that we've had about ourselves. And as you learn about, how the mind works and everything, and who we are at our nature, which is, like you said, a divine spark of the universe, there starts to be a crack in there that allows that understanding to come in and to really you just kind of let go of some of that old stuff, and it starts to just happen naturally. That's how a lot of it has been for me.
What comes up for me is what we've said to each other in our private messages, that whatever comes up, it's okay. So if we're in resistance, that's okay. Mm-hmm. If we're in judgment, that's okay. If we're in whatever emotion comes up, it's all okay. Because if we try to use a way how to let go, we'll find ourselves back into thinking mode and trying to do something instead of embracing the moment. Now, I'm personally, I'm often in resistance until I realize, and then I'm not in resistance anymore. And so my message would be to be gentle. Is that another doing? To be gentle with whatever. Laurie Holmes said something once, and I really like it. Be grateful for the highs and gentle with the lows. So in whatever.
That's a Sid Banks quote, isn't it?
Is it?
Either that or George Pransky. One of those really cool dudes.
Laurie taught me that, so it could be. I have no idea. I'm not gonna quote Laurie now. Who Laurie was quoting, I don't know. But for me, the important no, it doesn't. The important message for me, it's it's not a how to I got here. Mm-hmm. It just happened because I was open.
Yeah.
To whatever would evolve. And I think this is the message that I want to convey to our listeners, if anybody listens to us, that is.
There may not be anybody listening, but hey, we're listening to each other, so that's what counts.
Okay. So I think we can wrap this up for today.
I think so too, because I was wondering like how long we've been on, and I can't see a time.
No, neither do I.
Hey, I want to know what the gift was that the woman in the sauna gave you.
Oh my God, are you really curious? She said, I noticed that you like beer. I said, yes, I do. And she gave me a beer glass as a present in a box, and I thought that was really sweet.
In the sauna?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, she works there.
Your sauna. I've never heard of anybody giving anyone else a beer gift in a sauna. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really sweet. I was really pleasantly surprised. Yeah.
Well, Diane, this has been really fun. Thanks.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. So I'll see you later. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening, or day, or whatever. And we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.